Let food be thy medicine. A quote from Hippocrates from over 2,300 years ago. But did we heed his wisdom? We primates have been walking and eating on this planet for 60 million years. Our nutrition has probably enabled Homo sapiens to develop an increased brain volume, but now it also causes us to collectively eat ourselves sick. During the first million years of our existence as primates, we mainly ate plant-based foods: carrots, plants, nuts, fruits, seeds, and occasionally meat or fish, depending on where we stayed. Gathering and consuming food was a day-long task because we continually had to keep searching and ate everything raw. Because of this raw diet, we could spend as much as 6 hours a day eating. However, numerous major changes in the past hundreds of years, but especially in the last 70 years, in our eating patterns have brought us towards our current predicament. The first major change came about 800,000 to 400,000 years ago when we started to use fire for our preparation of our food. From that time, we could cook and roast, and because of that, digest our food much faster. This development has most likely greatly contributed to the further development of our cognitive brain. The second large shift happened about 30,000 years ago. During that period, cereal grains were grinded with a rock and mixed with water for the first time, creating a kind of porridge. This porridge was cooked, dried, and then left out in the sun or baked on heated rocks. This process created the first breads. Over 12,000 years ago, our diet changed dramatically for a third time. We stopped our nomadic existence and started to live in settlements, which would later turn into villages and cities. We developed agriculture and cattle breeding, which led to a more one-sided diet and increased meat consumption. In the Middle Ages, bread, meat, vegetables, and fruit were the most important nutritional components, although meat was mostly reserved for the rich. The fourth major shift in our diet came around 1950. Farmers started specializing, production increased in scale, and started globalizing. This and the invention of the freezer led to the development of preservatives that would allow our food to last longer. The 1950s also saw the first opening of a fast food restaurant by a major hamburger chain, after which many would follow. Nowadays, the top 6 fast food chains have about 132,000 locations. It became increasingly easy to have a fast meal, but the nutritional value didn't improve. The fifth major change in our eating pattern started with the result of a study by researcher Mayer in the early 50s of the last century. He showed that mice could gain weight if they consumed more calories than they burned. As a result, we saw millions of low-calorie diets that are still used today. What wasn't shown was that when we start a low-calorie diet, our body goes into a primal energy-saving mode that will retain fat for more difficult times. This causes our body to draw the energy that is needed to get through the day from, amongst other places, our muscles. This lowers our metabolism and our energy consumption at rest, which causes us to have an even higher calorie surplus after the diet than before. This is called the yo-yo effect. An extremely low-calorie diet also disrupts the effects of leptin, a hormone that signals our brain when we have eaten enough. Because of this disruption, people continue to be hungry and fall back to overeating again. A few years later, researchers published the 7-country study that named saturated fats as the culprit in our diet, and that these caused cardiovascular disease. This led to the 6th big change in our diet. The food industry saw these insights as a great opportunity to obtain a share of the diet market and started the fat-free rage. The effect was that fat, the tastemaker of our nutrition, had to be replaced. So what took its place? Sugar. Although both the 7-country study and additional research showed that the anti-fat advice was only about saturated fat, and that there was no direct relationship between the increase of overweight and fat consumption, the fat-free rage was already at full steam and raced around the world. Because of the shift from fat to sugar as the tastemaker of our food, there appeared more and more what we now call nutrient-poor and calorie-rich food on supermarket shelves. This seems to have been the most important change, from nourishing ingredients to nutrient-poor food with an extremely low nutritional value but extremely rich in calories. The result? In 1960, we consumed about 2,250 kilocalories a day. In 2005, this was 2,850 kilocalories a day. So, on average, an increase of about 25% in calories a day. Finally, in 2015, the World Health Organization issued its first warning. We eat too much, especially simple and refined sugar. On average, we eat between 100 and 125 grams of sugar a day. The advice is to reduce this to a maximum of 50 grams a day and preferably 25 grams. Why? We'll tell you in Part 2.